We are back with 843 TV, talking with the folks from Beaufort County today with some very important topics, and Taylor Brewer is joining us now, and you're going to tell us all about stormwater management.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, tell us what stormwater is and what is the management all about.
So stormwater is any kind of precipitation that comes from the sky that lands on the ground. We don't usually think about water as being sticky, but in stormwater we do. So when the water hits the ground, it will pick up absolutely anything, and it travels with that water to our outfalls, including sediment, trash, litter, oils, and anything that's left over on the impervious surfaces.
So you have to find a way to make sure that that travels into places that may not be harmful, things like that. So let's talk about that.
All right. Yes, ma'am. I like to put my job in a synopsis of controlling the quantity and the quality of the water that enters our local waterways. So Beaufort is an MS4, which stands for Municipal Separate Sewer Storm System. And that means that you have one set of pipes for treated water, which is everything that goes down your drains or toilets. And then you have a completely separate set of pipes that controls your storm water. That water is never treated. It's not filtered in any way and goes straight out into your environment. So it's really important for us to control what goes into that water before it gets to our local waterways.
How do you do that though?
So we try, first step kind of is plan review. So any new developments, we like to make sure that they have stormwater measures in place that will help us control the quantity and quality of that water. Also, another big aspect is maintaining the system that we already have. So making sure that our pipes aren't cracked or collapsed in any way.
So during a construction phase of any kind of project or community, which a lot of that's happening around here, that's a very vital piece of the project, of the process.
Yes, ma'am. And I would like to highlight that we do have the Loco design manual in Beaufort County, which is one of the most restrictive design manuals in the nation. So we really try to force responsible development, as we say, that can work in tandem with the environment instead of destroying it.
Yeah, that's definitely important. So how do you go about that as far as, the drainage, just making sure that all of this is where it needs to be? How do you actually do that?
So in the plan review process, we do ensure that the pipes are properly sized, that we're not putting any outfalls into critical waterways such as shellfish beds or any kind of 303 delisted waters that are already impaired. And then from there, we have inspections of the construction sites up as much as twice a week when necessary. So we kind of patrol to make sure that what's on the plans gets installed on the ground.
And it's even more important in our environment with the ecosystem and the marsh and the natural, resources we have. It's even more important to do this.
Yes, ma'am. And a fun statistic I learned, Beaufort County has more saltwater marsh acreage than any other county in the nation.
Yes, I've learned that before from one of our other shows. So what about stormwater in a positive way? Can it be utilized in a positive way for, the environment? What can you tell us about that?
We like to think of it as a necessary negative, as we say, because we do have to have houses and buildings and places to reside. So you can't stop development altogether, but just making sure that that has the lowest impact and that we're really using green infrastructure practices to infiltrate and take out as much of that water before it gets to the bottom of the system is very important.
Is there anything that the community members can do, in particular homeowners? What suggestions or tips can you give that can help the all-around process?
Absolutely. And I like to think that educating homeowners is one of the biggest helps for my job because it helps us be proactive instead of reactive.
Sure.
So one of the things I like to emphasize, obviously, don't litter. I think everyone in Beaufort County is pretty good about that, but making sure that we don't litter because it will end up in our local waterways. Yeah. Also, car maintenance, making sure that your car is not leaking. If you have any kind of weird puddles when you move, that can indicate, anything from antifreeze to DEF fluid or anything like that can be picked up and transferred into our local waterways as well. We also like to encourage our citizens to get out and get involved. If you see something in the community that's not right, definitely feel free to give me a call. I can't have my eyes on the entire county at once. So it's very helpful when people call and say, this doesn't look right, or maybe, they saw a truck dumping something into a ditch, or they see an area of litter. If they could call and help us out with those kind of things, it's very vital to helping us keep the community clean.
Sure. Well, Very important tips just for our community public. So you all can help, everybody can help do their part to help the department here. And thanks for all you do to help keep our beautiful environment nice and safe and for everyone. So
yes, ma'am.
Thanks for joining us, and thank you for watching this episode of 843 TV, where communities come to speak.